Alright, so on this problem, I am looking to simplify the expression, which in this case, I can see that I have this negative 2 that's waiting outside of this set of parentheses, waiting to be distributed. So that's going to get distributed into here. And I have a negative 4 outside of this set of parentheses that's going to get distributed into those two terms. That's really important that you see that minus sign attached to this 4. It's really a negative 4 that gets distributed into both of these terms. You can see it a couple different ways. You could also see it as minusing whatever you get from that product, but it's really going to be much easier just to attach it to the 4, call it a negative 4, and then multiply it into both terms. So actually I'm going to show that part here, negative 4 times 5, and negative 4 times, this is really a negative 1x here. That number in front, even though it's not showing there, it's a negative x or negative 1x. Then here I'm multiplying negative 2 times a negative 2 and a negative 2 times 3x. That becomes positive 4, that becomes a negative 6x. This, I'm going to go back to that blue color, just keep it consistent. That turns into a negative 20. I'm going to write that as minus 20 in this expression, in this whole line. And negative 4 times negative 1 gives me a positive 4x, which I'm going to write as a plus 4x there. Now I get to combine like terms. I have a negative 6x and a positive 4x. So I'm going to add those two together. Negative 6 plus 4 is negative 2x. And a 4 minus 20, or plus a negative 20, is negative 16. With the constant in front, you might think the constant needs to be in front, and you could write it like that. If you wanted to write this as negative 16 minus 2x, those are the exact same thing. The order really doesn't matter as long as the sign of the number stays the same. It's a negative 16 here, it's a negative 16 there. Negative 2x doesn't change. Just because it's subtraction, it's still the value of that is still a negative 2x. I'm going to write it like this because I like my variable term in front, but either way you want to write it is okay. I'm going to simplify this expression doing the exact same thing. I'm going to distribute first and then combine like terms. So I'm distributing a negative 10 into both those, negative 10 times 10. And this is really, just like I said before, that's a negative 1, so negative 10 times negative 1x. This is kind of the same thing here. This minus sign, it's really saying I'm subtracting that whole difference. I'm subtracting everything inside of there. So I'm subtracting a 5, and I'm subtracting this negative 4x. An easier way to see it might be to think about this as distributing a negative 1. Negative 1 times 5, and negative 1 times negative 4x. Now I'm going to multiply those out. Negative 10 times 10 is negative 100. Negative 10 times negative 1x is a positive 10x or plus 10x. Negative 1 times positive 5 is a negative 5 or minus 5. And negative 1 times negative 4 is a plus 4x. And my last step, I'm going to combine like terms. So I have 10x plus 4x. Those have the same variable and the same exponent. There's really an imaginary 1 there. That's not going to matter so much because I don't have any other variables in these terms, but they need to have the same variable and same exponent. That allows me to add their coefficients together. 10 plus 4 gives me a 14x. And my last step, negative 100 and a negative 5 combined to make a negative 105. And that is as simple as that expression can get.